Ladies and gentlemen, this is Joe's Classic Video Games back with another cool pinball repair video for you this evening. We have been working on this super awesome Stern Flight 2000 pinball machine from about 1980. What a cool game this thing is. This particular one, it was in pretty rough shape whenever we got it. They had started parting this poor thing out. Can you believe that? They stole the lockdown bar off of it. And then to make it worse, they even stole the lockdown bar receiver off of it, where the lockdown bar goes down into. And they stole the power supply out of it. That's like stealing its heart. And then they stole the solenoid board out of it. Oh, that's horrible. And then they stole 3 of the displays out of it. How could they? And so you know what we did? I brought it in. I found a lockdown bar for it, and I found a lockdown bar receiver for it. And then I built a power supply for it out of a power supply from another one. And then I found a solenoid driver board for it. And then I found 3 displays for it. So we're getting back how we were. On this video, though, we're going to work on the lights a little bit. The playfield has seen better days, but we're going to get the lights doing their thing. Now, I'm going to turn it on and show you what it's doing as of now. Look how bad the playfield is. Don't worry, people. Don't worry. If I'm not worried, why are you worried? Don't worry about it. So I'm going to show you the lights and show you what condition it's in at the moment. Now what it's doing right now is it's looking for the balls that are not there. So this little ball walker up here, so cool. It knows, the MPU knows that the balls are missing, so it's looking for them. It hasn't even completely booted yet, really. But now it has. So now it's up and running. And you can see we've got some of the light bulbs working and a whole bunch of them not working. So you might wonder, why are you working on the light bulbs when the playfield is such a mess? Well, because whenever I fix the playfield, I want it to look freaking amazing. I want you to go, wow, that's the coolest video I've ever seen at Christmas. So we're going to fix the light bulbs. They're chasing children down the street outside. I think everything's good. I might have to go out there and be Superman. I think everything's good. Looks like maybe their mom's chasing them. All right. We're going to put up the playfield first, and I'm going to look at the bottom of the playfield, and then we're going to replace the bulbs that, well, we're going to replace all the bulbs, but we're going to see which ones aren't working, and then we can work on the lamp driver board to fix certain ones. Look, this came back. This was a problem before, and it's acting up again. The game's up and running. I see the light, but that display's tripping a little bit. Okay, we'll have to go back to that. But yeah, so I'm going to very carefully put up the playfield so we can look at all of the bulbs on the bottom and see what we need to do. Okay, now I had to carefully put it up because some parts of the flippers are missing. Like I said, they've been parting this thing out. We're parting it back together. We're parting it back in. Let's part it in. Why are we parting anything out? Damn it, we're going the wrong way. If you start with 2 machines and you end up with 1 machine, you're going the wrong way, people. That's basic math. You should start with 2 machines and end up with 2 machines. Don't take 2 machines to make 1 machine. That's stupid. That's the wrong way to do it. You'd think people would know that, but here we have the evidence that they don't. Okay, so there are a bunch of bulbs that don't work. So what we need to determine is it the lamp board that's the problem, or is it just the light bulbs burn out? Now, LEDs. Yes, you can put LEDs in it if you want. I'm not a big fan of LEDs on the older games, but if you want to put them in there, it's no big problem. It's just I like the regular ones. So I'm going to put in number 47 bulbs. Number 44 bulbs are the ones that were originally in them. 47s are a little bit dimmer, but they save you 40% of the heat and the wattage and all of that good stuff. So yeah, so this is a 44, right? So we're going to replace it with a 47. Now whenever I go through, what I do is I I often do it with the thing turned on. It's not because I'm good enough not to mess anything up or whatever. It's just that if I screw something up, I can fix it because I work on these all the time, and I've got all the parts and all of that. You can do it too, but you might want to do it with the power turned off just in case you short something together. If you're moving one of these around and you make it touch, if you make like the lamp voltage touch a solenoid somewhere or something, you might have real problems. You just put a bunch of volts where it didn't want it. But I bend them back a little bit, and then I clean the inside of the lens. Sometimes you can just do it with a paintbrush. See, this one's metal too, so you gotta watch that. All right. Sometimes that's enough to do it. And sometimes you need to use a Q-tip or something. But basically, you just get the inside of those lenses clean, because if you don't, you'll see they'll get soot all over them. Like, see that one? See the soot up in there? It'll be like in a ring. It's the weirdest thing. Basically, these things, they attract dust, and like it coagulates basically in certain places. Just the electromechanical moving parts create dust. So you'll get black dust all over everything. So you need to clean that out of the lenses just so that they look nice and clean whenever they shine through the playfield. So I'm gonna go through and I'm going to mess with each one of them. Now, if I put in a bulb and it doesn't work after putting the bulb in, what I usually do is twist the socket a little bit. Let's see if I can do this with one hand without getting shocked. There we go. So that one works fine, right? And then I bend it back into place. Try to have it kind of centered in the lens. See, and then just by moving it, I screwed it up, right? So sometimes if you twist it, it makes it make better contact. There's a press fitting there, and that over time that dries out a little bit. So if you twisted it, basically you're essentially scraping metal against metal, and it creates nice fresh metal, and it makes good contact. You can replace them all too, but there's a bunch of them. But if we get one that's just a problem, we will replace it. So I'm going to go through and do each one, and hopefully we'll end up with a whole bunch of working light bulbs. So I went through and replaced every single bulb, touched and messed with every single socket. There are a few that are tripping. This one I can't get the light up no matter what. Okay. This one had the bulb missing, and I can't get it to light up no matter what. So I think that was probably already a problem child. This middle one, I cannot get the light up no matter what. Also probably a problem child. And then this one I broke the wire off of. So if I have to replace any of the other sockets, I will solder that back on whenever I do that. The one up here is the same player shoots again one. For whatever reason, in a track mode, usually that one never lights up on any game. It has something to... It may be that since it says same player shoots again, they don't want you walking up and thinking that there's a credit on it or something. But the one between the flippers, that's the extra ball one, it hardly ever lights up during the track mode. So if I go in to test, that one will probably work too. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a piece of paper and write down the wire color, go into the 3 or whatever that I'm having trouble with, just so that I can make sure that I look at the right one on the lamp driver board. And then once we work on it a little bit and put it back in, if we still have the same problems, we'll try swapping the actual socket and see if that fixes it. But I'm going to write down those 3 wire colors, and then we'll lay the playfield back down and see what the top looks like with this many of them working. Okay, so more and more of it's starting to come back. Got a few of them that aren't working. I think we got 3 of them. Plus maybe the shoot again. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the lamp driver board. Oh, you know what? I should do the ones in the back box too. Let me go ahead and do the ones in the back box just to make sure there's none back there that never light up. And then if that's our final list, we'll pull out the lamp driver board. Let me swap all those and see what they look like. Okay, folks. So here is the lamp driver board. These are all basically a similar design. There's 2 or 3 different ones for Bally, and there's 2 or 3 different ones from Stern, but they all do about the same thing. So the information comes in here on J4, and then this J2 usually does the lights in the back box, and then the 2 connectors over here. I'm going to guess those are J1 and J3. Do the lights for the playfield usually. So your main problem that you usually get is the solder on the back, just like normal. That's like the problem we get on everything, isn't it? Maybe we can see it without a light. Let's try to zoom in. Don't look too great to me. Moving right along. That's a bad one. So we want to resolder all of that. And let's look over on the other side. We're moving. Looks like somebody may have already done a few of those. I often see these where they've done a few, but do them all if you're going to do them. We're taking a tour of the solder joints. I forgot, I'm supposed to be saying that different. We're taking a tour of the solder joints. It's solder. The solder joints are quite nice this time of year. Okay, so that's the first thing we're going to do is re-solder all of those. I guess I might start saying it in my pussy voice like I say microferry. I have to replace the solder. Okay. What am I doing? I'm getting the dust off of it with a dust brush. Okay, and now I'm going to hit it with the soldering iron. The soldering iron. And then we're going to try to test all of the SCRs, silicone controlled rectifiers, SCRs. We're going to test all of those, and then what I like to do is play a little game. The little game is, can I find the one that's bad without looking up which one it is? So I wrote down the ones that were screwed up. There were 3. The back box ones, by the way, when I replaced the lights, it didn't, like, all of them were fine. So I like seeing if I can find, oh, wait a minute, this one seems wrong, and then you look it up, and it's one of the ones that we knew was wrong. Boy, that's fun. Okay, so I'm going to resolder those, and then I'll test all of these, and we'll see if we can figure out which one it is. Okay, so I'm going around, and I'm checking on the back of the board. There are all these little, these are where the SCRs are. So there are 2 different types. Some of them have 3 pins in a row, and some of them have 3 pins in a kind of triangular fashion. Those are the 2 different types. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm going around with my meter on diode test, and I'm just checking the relationship between the legs. Okay, and I'm just checking to see if they're all similar. So, like, for instance, these ones that are 3 in a row, if I do something like red probe on the right leg to the left leg, I'm getting like 1.2, and to the middle, I'm getting nothing, right? So if you check a couple of the other ones, 1.2 and nothing. So that's pretty consistent. Right, so those 3 seem very similar, because they all work. Remember, almost everything on the board's working. So if we test, maybe we test with the black leg on the right leg, the black probe on the right leg, and then do something similar. And so we're getting a voltage drop of 0.592 between the right and the left legs. 0.604, 0.602, 0.592, 0.600. So they're all doing something similar, probably because they're all good. Now I checked around, I didn't find one of those that is giving me a different measurement. Okay, so if I go to these ones that have the 3 in like a V pattern, if I go between the right and the middle, I'm getting 0.701. Right and the left is open. Right in the middle, 0.699. Right and the left is open. 0.698. And so I'm getting similar readings on everything. And then I get over here, and I found one here. Between the right and the middle, it's giving me 0.696, and between... Oh, that one's the same. Which one was I messing with? This one. Between the right and the middle leg, I don't have a connection. It's open. Okay. So that was number Q18. And then also, if I go over here to this one, Q4. Similar thing. See, between the right and the middle one, I'm getting 0.696 or something like that usually. But on this one, I get 1.981. It's nowhere close. Very weird. Okay. So it's not below. So between 0.4 and 0.7 is like the typical voltage drop on a transistor or a diode, you know. And so I'm not in that. I'm in that range on most of them. On that connection there between the right and the middle leg, 0.697. So that's a voltage drop, right? So it's not, if it was lower than 0.4, that would be like a short. And if it's above, I thought I got something like that on one of these. Like I could, if I test between 2 of the legs, somehow you can get that. Or I could show you. Nope. But if it's below 0.4, then that's almost like a short. And if it's above 0.7, then basically there's no real connection there, right? So I should have a voltage drop-ish connection. But on this one, instead I get 1.981, which is like there's no voltage drop gate connection there. So that one seems bad too. So the two that seem bad are Q4. And what I do is when I'm going through testing them, if I find one I stand them all straight up like they're supposed to be, and then if I find one that's messed up, I bend it over. So at a glance, when I go back, I can figure out which ones I thought had problems. It's Q4 and Q18 are definitely a problem. Okay, so here are the schematics. And if you look through here, kind of like a cheat sheet, basically, that they're making for you. It's showing you how everything works. So it's showing you the lamp data that comes in and the strobe, or the lamp address, I guess, that come in. Blah, blah, blah. It's running off 5 volts that comes in. Okay. And then it all goes over to these MC145148 chips. Okay. And it's just decoding it, I suppose. And so they have the inputs, and then the outputs, and then they turn on the SCRs, which are MCR 106s or 2N5060s, depending on which ones they are. Okay? And so you can see, basically, they're turned on by the chip. Right? And then it goes out, and that's what grounds the lamp and makes the lamp work. Okay? As you can see, if it turns on one, it is syncing it to ground. Alright, so if you go through and we find the transistor, so our first one is Q4. Q4 is right here, and they have a little cheat sheet over here. It also tells you. So Q4 is J1 pin 28. Okay, so if we go over here, J1 pin 28 is the left hand corner S, so the S in blast off, and that is in fact one of the ones that isn't lighting up. So we found a transistor that looked bad to us, and now we've confirmed that it's one of the lights that wasn't lighting up. So that's probably it, right? Look at all the dirt on my hands. Alright, so that's that, and then the other one was Q18. So we can do the same thing. Q18. If we can find it. It's J2 pin 20. So we come over here. J2 pin 20 is all systems go on the left. So that's that one right in the middle that didn't have a bulb in it. I said it's probably been messed up for a long time. That's why the bulb was out. They were trying to figure out what was going on with it. Well, Q18 was bad. That was what was wrong with it. So we found that one too. Okay, now one of the other ones that was messed up is the bonus in the middle. One of the lights right in the middle is messed up. So it's one. What did we find? 1, 2. I figured out it was 1, 2, 3. I thought it was 5,000. The bonus 5,000, which is J119. So you can work backwards too, you know. Which is Q12. So Q12 is suspect. So let's see if Q12 seems like the other ones. Let's check it out. Come on, people. That's our third one. Q12, where are you? It's right here. It's that one. So what we're going to do is see if that one is a lot like that one, or if it seems like there's something something different there. So we're on diode check. This is the one that's suspect. So first we'll check this one. Between the right and the middle, we're getting 1.2 on this one. Right in the middle, we're getting 1.2. Right and left, we're getting, it's open. Right and left, it's open. What other way can I do it? From left to middle, open. Left to middle, open. And we can reverse our leads. Maybe. Possibly we can. From right to middle, it's 0.7. From right to left, 0.7. That's convenient. Right to middle, 0.7. Right to left, it's open, but I thought a bunch of the other ones were open too, so that one doesn't seem to matter. Yeah. Yeah, I can't find anything wrong with it. It seems exactly like the other ones to me. There is a weird little discrepancy where a couple of them, if you measure from the right to the left pin, some of them are open, and some of them have a voltage drop. If I can get it to do it again. Well, I can't find any that do now. Maybe that is the problem. This is how I usually do it. I just kind of jump around a little bit. Yeah, that's not doing it. There must be a way you can turn it on with your meter. It must be triggering it with the meter or something. I can't find anything different with it, people. I checked through it earlier too and couldn't figure it out. So I think that one's fine. But sometimes you can't, it won't test bad in the bench, it just tests bad in the machine. But more than likely there's something going on with the actual socket. So that's that middle one, right in the middle of the playfield, the blue one, right in the center. It also could be bad solder, where we resoldered it. That could have fixed it. Or it could be the pins are dirty, which I usually kind of clean those with a file, clean them up a little bit. Or you can replace them. So I'm going to replace those two that I've been over that are definitely bad, best I can tell. And then we'll put it back in and see if that fixes anything. If you have a connector problem too, where like the pin on the connector is all dirty or something, that'll do it too. So sometimes you have to repin all these connectors in the game. It just depends on how bad the machine is, what kind of shape is it in. So let me swap those two, and then we'll go put it back in the machine. Don't forget your 3 coin door light bulbs either. Okay, so back box. I put it in lamp test so that we can actually make sure that they're all doing their thing. So all the ones that are supposed to blink are blinking. See how they have the little light shields around them. And then on the playfield, getting it. Well, this thing is destroyed though. Now you're about to be deceived. You didn't get deceived, did you? That bottom F is lighting up. It just doesn't look like it. It's because that bulb, they ran out of room down there. There was too much equipment in that one small area, so that's a sideways bulb. But I think it'll probably light up a little different when we get it all clean and playing. And all the ones up in there are doing their thing. I think that's all of them. I'm sure you'll find one I missed. So yeah, so our light bulbs are good enough for now. We're down to, we got to clean the cabinet, we got to paint part of the cabinet, and then I have to start doing the top of the playfield. And then after that, we'll have to test it and check flippers and all that kind of stuff. But there's so many light bulbs on this game, that in itself is a pretty big deal. There's also a couple in the pop bumpers, but they probably stay on all the time. I don't believe they're computer controlled. I haven't looked in there yet. We're about ready to tear down the playfield. We've also got the soundboard still. I don't know if I can go to a... it may start talking here in a second. Let's see. Nope. I don't know how good the soundboard test is, but we'll see. It's the solo noise. That's a switch test. And there's our settings. Alright, so it's going to look for the balls. We'll see what the attract mode looks like with all the lights working. Come on, there we go. Alright, oh, I soldered that wire back too. So we fix that one. Now this one was lighting earlier, but like I said, in test mode it will light, but during attract mode they don't like to light it up because I think they believe that people will, if that lights up, will believe that there's a free game on it or something. See the F there? We might have to put a stronger bulb in that one, a 44 instead of a 47. There's my brother Donnie calling. Is that really who that is? Let's see. Let's answer it. Alright, so we're about there on the lights, at least for now. We'll look over them again whenever we, are test planning and stuff. But this is Stern's brand new VSU 100 that they had just invented for Flight 2000, I believe. Before around this time, Stern's sounds were a little subpar, and you had Williams killing it with stuff like Gorgar. So Stern decided they've got to make a voice synthesizer unit. So then was born their VSU 100. It has room for 2 ROM chips. They only used one, a 2716. All right. It's running off of whatever that is. I don't even know what that is. That's the processor. I don't have the schematics in the paperwork for this. But it's in really nice shape, I'll tell you that much. So that's what we're working with. You know, that's probably not a processor, now that I look at it. S14001A. What in the world is that? Let me see if I can figure out what that is. Aha! That's a synthesizer. Makes sense. Okay, cool. Yeah, I was wondering, because there's no RAM, so it must be built into it, or the CPU's running it or something. We do have the 1 ROM chip, though. So the way that they connect to it and interface with it is, I was showing you earlier, that connector that runs the lamp driver board also runs this. And instead of connecting to the lamp driver board, it connects right here. And then you have one coming from here that goes over to the lamp driver board. So look how they did that. On the board, it's just a direct pin-for-pin connection. So they literally just split the connector. You plug it in here, and then a jumper comes off of it and goes over to the lamp driver board. So they're running the lamp driver and the speech board with the same strobes, I guess, or the same data. Pretty cool. So this thing was working fine. So, and keep in mind, this is the speech board. There's a separate sound board. We're going to do it next. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to clean these 2 socketed chips. I'm going to clean the connectors, and we're going to replace most of these capacitors just to see if we can clean up the sound a little bit. It kind of sounded like in the test that it fades out sometimes. So that might be a capacitor thing, but it sounded like everything was working. So I'm going to swap caps, clean the pins on these 2 chips, and there's just not much to do to it because it's up and running and everything's working fine. All right, so there were 7 caps total. We've had people asking what these are. These are little tags from the local distributor that are either repair tags, or I think if you bought it new from them, they may have put these on all the boards too. Basically, they would put this little tag on there, and then if you brought the board back and said it was broke, they would check to make sure that it was theirs or that they had done a repair to see if it was under warranty. So this little tag would have a number on it, typically. This one actually doesn't. So my theory would be that the ones without a number on it are just to show that it was purchased from Brady. So, they had it looped around one of the caps. That way you can't just bring in a board and say, yeah, this is the one I had you fix last week, remember? No, this is the one. No, you fixed it. Well, it's messed up again, and you're just bringing them a different board. So if you bring in the one and it's got the tag on it, and you say, hey, I bought this last week, and we're having problems out of it, they can go, oh, yeah, that's one of ours, and check it out. And the tags that had a number on them, they could write the number down and have a record of that where they can see what the history of the repair was on that board to see if it's under warranty or anything. It's to keep the operators honest, because we all know that was kind of hard to do. Okay, so we're going to throw it back in the machine and see how it sounds. Hopefully it'll be crystal clear and nice and synthetic from 1980. We're in solenoid test. That's what does the sounds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 10, ignition.
I think it says a few other things, but it doesn't. Maybe it doesn't test them. I think it says blast off or countdown.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, 10, ignition.
But you can hear it's kind of doing its thing. But it was doing that before, so I think we're good. Okay, next thing, we're going to pull out the soundboard itself.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 3, tenor, ignition.
Okay, so here is the soundboard, the Stern SB, I think it's the SB 100. Might be the SB 200. Whoa. Oh no. Check this out. It has a MC6840P in it, which I'm told is a programmable timer. And of course, the sound amp down here. So there is a big connection up here at the top that connects to the top of the MPU board. And so that's where all of it gets like all of the data lines and address lines that the CPU gets on the MPU. So the 6820, the 6800 that runs everything on the main MPU, all the address and data lines also come over to the soundboard. So it's running two PIAs on the CPU. Well, I can show you the schematic. Let me show you because you'll understand it better than me. Let's see. Wow. Here we go. So there is a 6800. This is the main MPU. The address and data lines connect to this connector, which is what goes over to the soundboard. So you've got all of the address lines, all of the data lines, and then some other stuff, read, write, halt, reset, VMA, IRQ, external memory. Right? Whatever that means. And it's also running, you've got the ROMs on the main board. You've got a 6800 RAM. A 5101 RAM, which is what saves the during power off, what saves the settings and things like that. And then you have these two 6821s, PIA, peripheral interface adapters. Okay, this one is doing solenoids and displays. This one is also helping out with the displays and doing lamps and switches. And dip switches. Okay, so you have this extra connector that Bally, I don't think, ever used that connector. But it was on the Bally design. But Stern decided to use it. So that's what this is. So they're connecting over to this 6840, which is a programmable timer. There is no ROM on the soundboard or anything. So it's just, I guess, creating noise. Or I don't know how it works. Oh, you've got these 4051s. I'll bet they're doing something. 4051. So that's the next thing. I'm going to look that up. I'll bet that's some kind of noise maker. Okay, so it's just a multiplexer, but look how they're using it. That's pretty cool. So they've got 5 over here, and they've got resistors between each. I don't know if those are inputs or out. I guess they're inputs. They have to be inputs. Between each input. And so depending how they grab it, they get a different resistance that they can change. And I guess they're somehow using that to change sounds. This is like a counter. So I think they're using it to like generate noise by getting a value out of that and using the counter. It says this is a programmable timer as well, and this is a programmable timer, but this thing's got a lot going on, obviously. And then the amplifier is just a little 2002. Now, I'm trying to figure out where is it getting where is it getting its sound from the speech board? I don't know where that's coming from. Because this is the only way it's amplified, so it must come through this board. Well, let me see if I can figure that out. Okay, I looked in the cabinet. So the speech board sends all the speech out on one line. It says voice out. And then it comes in on pin 5 here of J3. And in the manual, they had games that used this soundboard before they did the speech thing. So I don't know if they modified it afterwards or whatever, but on pin 5, you see this little trace coming around. Then it goes to there, and to there, and then on the back, it's this little trace. So that's not in the schematics, but it is now. I drew it in. So speech in comes in on pin 5, and then connects around to right here, and is added in at this spot, and where it looks like all of this stuff is combined. And then runs through this 3340, whatever that is, and then runs out to the volume pot, which then connects to the speaker. I'm sorry. The volume pot runs in, and this goes out to the speaker. So let's see if we can follow it the other way. Yeah, okay. So this is the out. And here's all the inputs. And the speech. So there's no separate volume adjustment for the sounds and the speech. It's just all kind of mixed. I'll bet you could change it by changing some resistors or something. Probably these. If you change these 3, it looks like there are 3 types of sound plus speech that all converge right here and go in. The speech may have a resistor on the speech board before it goes out. And then these 3, I'll bet if you change them, you can change the volume relative to the other ones, but there's no way to mix them individually. One line is coming from what they're calling noise. Right. And then this second one is coming from one of the outputs of the 6840. And then this third one is coming from one of the other outputs of the 6840. Whatever. I don't completely understand it, but I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Same thing I did before. I'm going to clean that chip. It's only one socketed. I'm going to replace the caps, and then we're going to see if that makes it less fuzzy. Cool little board, though. All right, there we go. New caps. Yeah, I didn't have the axial ones. It's going to be all right, people. Don't worry about it. This is the revision C, it says on the back. So we're going to pop it back in and see how she sounds. Now remember, this is the one with the actual amplifier on it. So if you're having buzzing and stuff like that in your sound, it's probably on this board. If it's just in the speech, I guess it's on the speech board. But so we'll pop it back in and see if the buzzing has quieted down and see what it sounds like.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4.
I guess that's all we can check, really. All right, folks, so there you go. So you know what time it is? It's time for us to start on the playfield. We've done about all the electronic stuff we can do. Next, we got to get it, the top of the playfield, usable. Right now, we can't do anything with it. So we're going to have to do that on the next video. So make sure that you come back to check that out. I'm filming these ahead of time, we always do, of course, and I'm kind of trying to make it where this lands right about Christmas time. So if it is right about Christmas time, Merry Christmas. If you're watching this years down the road, we had a Merry Christmas in 2021. I almost forgot what year it is, right? We had a great Christmas. You should have been there. So everybody leave your comments below. Make sure to give us a thumbs up for taking the trouble to film it for you. We're working through it a little by little, little by little, little by little. Next time we'll work through it a little bit more. I would like to thank everybody that's used our Amazon links. If you don't know about that, there's a link to Amazon down below if you're going to buy anything. If you click our link first to go to Amazon, it gives us a piece of whatever you buy. The prices stay the same and everything, but it gives us like 3% of everything you buy. So we appreciate everybody that's been doing that. And then also, finally, last but not least, don't forget to check out my brother Donnie, who is literally my brother. We have a channel here on YouTube, he and I, where we have fun on the weekends and record some stuff. If you like watching us work on these old pinball machines, you would probably enjoy watching us work on old buildings. We've been working on some couple buildings we bought in a small town near here in the downtown area, fixing them up and having a good time. So go check that out if you haven't already, and we'll see you over there, and we'll see you back tomorrow for the next video on this Flight 2000.